Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of OK Boomer, the podcast. Please subscribe, comment, and share. Find us at youtube.com/c/creators outlet, where you can find many thousands of hours of watchable content, or at least nearly watchable content. And we are back again at the virtual spinner rack. This is Will.
And this is Thomas.
And this week we are going to take a look at one of the oddest fourth wall stories
Yeah.
ever.
It's a little weird. You know what's terrible is it's a little weird, but the art is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, it's Jim Aparo. I loved his art.
He's incredible.
The only complaint I ever got from anybody was the owner of my LCS, who was like, he goes, yeah, his art's great, but Batman's supposed to be in the shadows, and he really doesn't do him in the shadows. You know, the most shadowy thing he used to do him was him disappearing behind the drapes in Gordon's office if somebody came in. But I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's like if somebody sees him, he can knock him out.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that. Yeah, I mean, granted, he doesn't enjoy him in the shadows. Like, oh, yep, not safe for work.
Not safe for work and TVMA and blah 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 blah. I still got to make one of them. Anyhow.
But yeah, I mean, Neil Aparo was, I don't say Neil Adams Jr., but dude, he's the damn near the next best thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he drew Batman forever.
Aparo was actually better than Neil for the fact that Aparo always got everything done on time.
Is that what it is? Aparo always got everything done on time.
Well, I don't remember ever hearing a story that they had to do a reprint of something because Jim Aparo hadn't finished the 28 or 32 pages that he had to get done, opposed to Neil Adams, who couldn't get an issue of the Conan magazine done, so they had to keep doing reprints.
Yep, we talked about that. The thing that's funny too is, and I think we've discussed this before, because Aparo's is such a DC icon, but he drew so much all at one time, dude. There was a point where he's drawing like 3 or 4 comics a month. I mean, he was doing some crazy, that's Sal Buscema's, kind of output. I mean, well, we need this other comic book drawn. Who's free? Well, Aparo's doing 4. He can do a 5th one. Just give it to him.
Yeah, it's like fill in. All you got to do is the layouts. We're gonna have so and so do the finishes. Okay.
Yeah, and he does, and it's all amazing. But yeah, Batman Sergeant Rock. I didn't realize when we started this one, you picked this one. This is old Sergeant Rock.
Yeah, this is old. If this was Marvel, this would be Old Man Rock.
Old Man Rock. Yes, it would.
Yeah, and I shook my head when I was going through like the Twitter feed, and somebody was posting up something from Marvel was posting something up, and they're bringing back all the old men of Marvel into like another. Yeah. I'm like, sales are that bad. Watch, there's going to be like 72 variant covers on that one. They're hoping to at least get second place and the month after for sales, and it's not going to happen because it's going to be manga.
What is it? It's it's like Old Man Logan, Old Man Hawkeye, Old Woman Widow, I guess it is, because it's like Black Widow in a white suit, and she's got her hair's no longer red. And the other one was who's the other guy that's the old guy?
God, there's so many of them.
There's 4 of them, I know, but yeah, they were in the cover. I saw that, and I'm like, okay.
They could bring back Old Man Fury from the moon, but they don't want to confuse people with, well, how come one's a black guy and one's a white guy? Well, because Sam Jackson got cast in the pot in the MCU. That's why.
Yeah. And I'm perfectly fine with that, because if you read enough Nick Fury, you understand he's a player. He is James Bond. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I'm all right with that.
Yeah,
it's his kid. I I love the original Nick Fury, and I like the new Nick Fury too. I think they're both great characters. But yeah, it's I don't know.
But this is a big fourth wall breaker book.
Fourth wall. I was like, really? So how are they? The whole story is fourth wall. Yeah, it even starts off at the cover. So you've got here's Batman Sergeant Rock, Brave and the Bold, and you got this dude holding the gun on Aparo. Say finish the cover, Rock. Rock kills Batman or I kill you. And then if you look at the cover, it's the same issue, Brave and the Bold, 124, everything else. And this one's got the dude with the gun back here with no gun now, and Sergeant Rock's pulling a gun on Batman.
Yeah, and so basically, anything that Jim draws happens in the issue while Jim's drawing it and trying to stay alive, and other members of the B and B DC team are in the book, and they're hiding them out, and they have to, Jim ends up in hiding, and he has to call in like Bob Hall and a couple other people to tell him, what the next sequence is, so he can hurry up and draw it to keep Batman and Sergeant Rock alive and himself alive. And it was just a fun read.
Yeah, and the thing is he has to keep calling them because he can't figure out what's actually going on in the issue. So he's like, I need help. So he calls Bob Haney. So the story opens up, and they're right here at, this really honestly doesn't matter. It's like a bank or something. I can't even remember. And, so there's Batman who's being shot at by these guys, and he rips his, face mask off. He's like, murdering rats, I'll get you this time, and, so Small War of the Super Rifles. And Batman jumps on top of these guys. And then this is where we discover that they have managed to steal, these people here have managed to steal these 1,000 rifles that the government has made that are all top of the line new military rifles, and have given them to these guys to help do all their crime and stuff. And Batman's trying to figure out what's going on. So he goes to let the commissioner know what's going on and try and figure out a way to stop them. But the rifle's more like a machine gun. And you see they fight, Batman. And
it's like a high tech M16. Yeah.
Yeah, something. But Batman chases down one of the alley, and then this is where we meet Sergeant Rock. One of the guys finally gets knocked over, and Batman, of course, recognizes him. Oh Lord, it's Sergeant Rock. He says, "You son of a gun, you old guy." And he says, "What are you doing here?" And Sergeant Rock's like, "Hey, Bat buddy, really?" And he explains to him what he's looking for. Oh, there it is. It's the M76, the U.S. Army's latest, greatest top secret rifle.
The M76. And they did that. This, of course, is, I don't have my copy out here, I don't think. Oh, yeah, I do.
It's in 76.
Yeah, is it 76? Yeah.
Yeah, it was 76. Because I looked at the date.
Look, it's fourth wall again. Put it back to the cover.
Put it back to the cover. It's probably like fifth wall there.
Is this fifth wall? I can't tell. Okay. That's fifth wall. There's another one that I just got in. I don't know if I showed you this one. But I haven't read it yet. I never had this issue before, and I didn't mind paying the $5 for it, but
you have to blow it up.
Oh, I gotta put this one down. Oh, I gotta.
I blew it up. I quit sharing for a sec.
I gotta press buttons.
The Master of Assassins.
Batman and Ra's al Ghul team up.
Now that sounds really good, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with Aparo on art again.
In the wanted poster, wanted for crimes against humanity.
That sounds about right.
Crystal Armageddon.
Damn it. team up books are so fun.
Yeah, because you can have anything in there.
Yeah,
Look, Green Lantern. I know I have plenty of Green Lantern Brave and the Bold team ups.
I
I
actually
still love that cover.
sweet. That is a nice cover. Um,
Share.
yeah, I am. I'm bringing it back up. Look, there it is.
That's what she said.
But
There we go.
so yeah, it's 76. February 76.
Yeah, these were so fun. I used to love buying. Well, like the first team book I ever bought was Legion of Superheroes, so Superboy and the Legion. So I mean, I still love them to death. And speaking of death, they let somebody kill that book just the other year. Brian Michael Bendis, I'm talking to you.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, he killed it.
so I will never read the the latest modern take on LSH, but like everybody else who is quitting modern comics left and right and just going back and buying back issues uh, and filling holes in their collection and buying Silver Age investment pieces, and it's like they're just hurting themselves. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, part of it's story and all this, but yeah, it's just like I said, these were when we were little. There's so much fun to read. I mean, and this is kind of crazy. Like I said, we got Old Man Rock, these whack machine guns, and so he's talking to Batman, who explains to him that these are the machine guns that the government has made, and they got hijacked, and the guy stole them, and so
Hmm.
they've all put them out, and these guys are using them to actually commit all of these crimes, and that there's 1,000 of them. So Batman goes on, and he's like, "Oh, well, that explains a lot of stuff. There's a terrorist group that just sent like notes claiming credit for like random killings and stuff all over Gotham that they called themselves the Thousand. So they've got all these 1,000 rifles, and they're fanatics. And of course, they're fanatics, and they're not gonna actually give themselves up or get captured, and let them go. They're all got like cyanide capsules and stuff like that. They're gonna die, that way, and they blow up their machine guns, so nobody gets them, and they're gone from the government. So when Batman hears this, he hightails it with Rock and goes and lets Commissioner Gordon, who also, if you read the new comics, like I was asking you yesterday, apparently has retired from the police force. And they replaced him with Bullock and now Renee Montoya in the new comics. So
Again.
yeah, so they go to look, and then before they left, Rock manages to pick up a key that he knows goes to a locker at the bus terminal. So they go down there, and of course, if you ever seen a little bus terminal key, they got the number that the number the locker it goes to
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the key. So they go and they unlock it, and when they get in there, they find I think it's this. Yeah, they go to find some more guns, but that's what they're hoping for. But here's where the story gets weird. So they go to open the locker and look at for guns, and then all of a sudden, at this very moment, in the quiet kinetic studio of Jim Aparo, famed artist, he stretches. He's like, "Man, I'll take another break. These Brave and Bold shits are toughies." And he's like, having issues, and he's talking about, what do I do? You know, what's Sergeant Rock and Batman going to do on the next panel? And he's like, I'll fix that. Of course, you see he's smoking a cigarette and drinking some coffee when these two dudes who are obviously part of the Thousand break in on him, and they're
Hmm.
like, you better draw this story this way, and do what he says. So Aparo kind of gets a little nervous there, and he's like, I can't keep drawing it this way. I can't let Batman and Rock die. So I got to do something. So he breaks his pencil, and he tells them, "Hey, you've been making me nervous. I need another pencil." So they tell him, "Well, you can get, don't try anything funny. You can get one out of the supply closet." So Jim Aparo gets up and goes to the supply closet. it's
And sneaks out.
and he sneaks out. And what's weird is, I mean, I understand we're drawing the comic. Here it is, and then we get the page. It is. It just it's very. This is a very jarring little book, but the story still plays. So he sneaks out because they didn't look at the little. There's like a little grate there that he goes out and manages to wiggle his way out of, and sneaks across the yard. And he's got a little boat. I guess he lives on the coast, and he hightails it to his friend's lighthouse. It's a refurbished lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got his own, his buddy's got his own drawing table and everything else in there. So he rushes in, and Jim Aparo quickly gets another page, and he starts drawing out all of the Batman story and moving forward. And then when he starts drawing it, the story for Batman and Rock pick up again. And inside is not machine guns; it's been booby trapped.
And it explodes.
Yep. That's a cool picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's his classic. I mean, even this is so classic with Aparo's Batman. The big Adam's apple.
Yep.
The big Adam's apple is always there. So Aparo's drawing it, and he's like, "Oh God, I can't remember what else is going on with the script." So he's like, "I got to call Bob." So he calls Bob Haney, who's actually the guy that's writing the story, to see what happens next after the thing. He says, and he's like, "Those are terrorists, Jim." So he's like, the terrorists have somehow come out of the book and are in the real world. And Bob Haney's like, "Those are terrorists. So let me hop over. I'm going to go over to our neighbor's house, and I'll call you right back." So he does that. And as he calls back Aparo, he starts laying out what the story is. They discover the little shell casings, and they have to go to the arms dealer in town and see if anybody's bought a box of these special shells that are fired through that M76 rifle. And after they discover it, this guy's like, "Hey, yeah, I sold some of these to another dude earlier." So Batman and The Rock stake out the place for like 2 hours. And of course, when the guy finally shows up, Batman gets a little signal from him, and he goes to apprehend him. But thank goodness the guy that runs the arms dealer, the gun salesman, actually had some sense, and he put blanks in there. So the guy pulls the gun on Batman, and when he shoots at him, nothing happens because it's blanks. And of course, Batman beats the guy up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when somebody shoots at you, if you don't die, you got to beat the shit out of them.
Beat the shit out of them. So as they head out, there's Batman on the street, and The Rock's like walking around looking at him, and he sees an army vehicle. It looks like a 2.5 come by, and he runs and jumps on it, and then manages to pull himself over in the back of it to see what the hell's going on, and they clobber his ass. Dude, I'm like, man, this is not the Sergeant Rock I remember, because I was like, this is butt kicked.
This is old man Rock.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize it was ancient man Rock, but yeah, he gets his ass kicked.
Well,
and then
this is what happens. It's like sometimes it all depends on the plot of the story. Sometimes you get young Sergeant Rock like in his prime, teaming up with Batman, and other times they try to be fair to the timeline in the 70s, and it's like, okay, Sergeant Rock, World War II, all these other wars in between, and he's fucking old now.
He's got to be in his 60s or 70s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets clobbered, knocked unconscious, and when the damn, the deuce and a half drives over the bridge, they throw his ass out like a sack of potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he falls to the train tracks below. not to say that bouncing off the damn train tracks would probably kill him. Thank goodness for him, they hit one of his little lapel pins, his medals, and jab it into him, and it wakes him up. So he manages to roll out of the way of the oncoming train.
Well, at least they had him roll out of the way instead of being, completely crazy and say that he leapt out of the way.
Yeah, he rolls out of the way.
Yeah, 70-year-old Sergeant Rock apparently fell behind Thomas.
Yeah, it was a stupid cat.
It's like, leave him there; he'll be okay.
So when they go back, so Rox is safe now, and we find out that the 1,000 dedicated men can change the world with terror. Terror's power. They're trying to bring terror to the world. So their leader number one and everything, they're all looking for Jim Aparo so he could get that. Who is still at the lighthouse talking to Bob Haney, who's at his neighbor's, and he's trying to explain to him the story. But as he's explaining it, the terrorists have managed to retrace the call. Or excuse me, not retrace the call, but yeah, they've actually looked for Bob Haney, and they go to his neighbor's house to see if he's hiding out there. And when they show up, Haney grabs the gun, and he's going to the gun he's got there, and he's going to go out there and protect himself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but he's got the gun, and he hightails it out. So inside the house, the guys go in, and they're looking for him. Of course, they can't find him because now Haney's hauled butt. And they find a little, a chalkboard that's been written on. And they take and put dust on the chalk from the actual eraser on it. And they can see the numbers that were written on there. And they realize it's a phone number. So they kind of backtrack it. And they realize that it's actually going to somebody else. It's going to, who else? It's Aparo called Jim Murray is what it looks like. No, Murray. So what was his first name? You remember?
Well, I can tell you. I just have to open up my book again.
Yeah. Because now that Haney's gone, Jim Aparo has no idea how the story's going to end. So because he has no idea how the story's end, he's got to call somebody else. So he calls the next editor in line, whose name is Murray, is his last name.
And I am looking for credits, and there is not a credits page to be found.
No, and that's still amazing that they don't put a credits page in all these.
What they do is they update the online piece so I can find it that way.
Yeah.
And the update to the online ones, like the fandom ones, is because the fans do it themselves. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I keeping you awake?
No.
Okay. Oh, good. Murray Boltonoff.
So that's who they call.
And Murray Boltonoff and Jack C. Harris were the editors. Bob Haney was the writer. Pencils, Jim Aparo. Inks, Jim Aparo. Letters, Jim Aparo.
Really? He did everything.
Cover artist, Jim Aparo, with Tunjani Wood and let's see.
Who did the colors?
Jana Wood and Gaspar.
Yeah, Gaspar.
Saladino.
Yeah.
Gaspar's the colorist. So the cover, Jim drew the cover. Tajana was the inker, and Gaspar was the colorist. And okay, Murray is actually the executive editor on Brave and the Bold, so he's the head honcho.
So he's the guy that after Haney has to hightail it out of the house because the terrorists are there.
Jack C. Harris is the editor on the book.
Yeah.
And Murray would basically be the editor in chief of that of this title, but they called them the executive editor.
Yeah. All right. So that's who Aparo has to call next. With the guys, with Haney gone, he calls the executive editor, Murray, and he's trying to get them to help him run through on how to draw the story out. So he's working it through, and now we see that The Rock and Batman have managed to capture the guy, who shot at Batman earlier, and he's like, hey, we're going to get some information from you. And the guy's like, hey, we're like Nazi troopers, we're not going to, I'm not some Nazi troopers, I'm not going to spill my guts and all this. And Rock takes him into a freaking police station, and for some reason, they got a rat there. And
in a cage.
In a cage. So this big ass honking rat, this Gotham City rat's in there. He's like, you ever seen anybody get his face gnawed off by a rabid rat? And the guy's like, no. So Rock shoves his face up against the cage, and the guy gets all scared. So he starts talking and spills it to him. And Batman holds it up. He tells him later. He says, man, you really, you're something else, Rock. That rat wasn't rabid. And of course, Sergeant Rock's like, yeah, I know that. That creep didn't. So they head off to where the terrorists are to find the guns and, kind of save the day. And then we flash back to Aparo, who's, even though he's trying to save his life, he's taking a lot of damn breaks. See, now he's lighting a pipe. And now he's stretching. So he's stretching.
Hey, Connery.
Lighting the pipe. Hey, man. And so there it is. And Aparo goes and looks outside of his lighthouse, and then he sees the terrorists are in a boat now, and they're coming to the house to actually get him. And he's like, oh my God, they're like 20 minutes away. I've got to figure out something to draw in the story before they get here. And he's hoping that Murray will call him back. He said, because he just hung up with him. He said, give me a few minutes. But Murray's not calling. So as the time keeps going by, Aparo finally is like, who's going to call? And Bob, who's managed to actually get away and find a phone booth, calls Jim Aparo and starts letting him know how the story's going to end. So the story, now that it picks up, Batman and The Rock have discovered where they're keeping all these guns and everything else, and it's in a helicopter, on this blaze. So they're going to go out there and get it from them, where they've got all this stuff buried at. But then it flashes back, and this is where the story kind of it crosses over here. So when The Rock and them get into the helicopter to go off and find the terrorists who are outside of the lighthouse looking for Jim Aparo open fire on the helicopter that The Rock and Batman are in. And of course they leap out of the helicopter and down onto the boat to attack them, and they beat them up. And as they beat them up, Aparo finally, is so exhausted from drawing this all night that he whew, it's over. I'm safe. He kind of passes out, and then Murray goes up to take a nap, and Bob Haney's like, the terrorists have been defeated, so I can go back to my house. And Aparo falls asleep on the drawing table, and he's like, the end of the story.
Yeah, it was damn clock. No wonder why your sister-in-law sold that thing. He probably bought some ugly drapes with it.
Some ugly drapes with it.
Yeah. So I wanted to share, because since I actually have the issue in front of me, I wanted to share some awesome 70s fun with ads.
Dude, the ads in this thing were crazy.
Oh man, so good. Let me
I was like, really?
Let me just blow this up. One, You would never see an ad for a BB gun in a modern day comic book.
No.
These were, and I owned probably like 2 or 3 of these. My friends and I all had these. We all still have scars and wounds from shooting each other in the ass with BB guns.
Okay, so now, is that the ad for the pump up BB gun, or is that the one that has to use the actual compressed air?
One of each.
One of each.
One of each. So the one on the bottom, you see the ring right there?
That's probably the compressed air.
That's
right?
that's the housing for the CO2.
Yeah.
And the other one is just the regular pump.
Yep. You flip the handles until it pumps up.
The goodness on the back cover.
Evel Knievel on the back of all of them.
Evel Knievel. Okay. I have I think it's a 25th or 30th anniversary edition that my buddy Randy from my LCS gave me as a gift one year. When I was a kid, I had the stunt cycle, the trail bike, the chopper, the dragster that moves out. I had everything here except for the whoops, wrong side. Except for like these GI Joe. Damn it. These things.
Yeah.
the outfits for the different adventures.
Is that the Evel Knievel? I can't remember. There were 2 of them. I had one of them. I think I had the one. Remember, there was one you would pull back, and his like wheels would like wind up, and you'd let him go, and he would run off. And there was another one that had a little rip cord that was in the bottom, and you would hold the Evel Knievel and pick it up off the ground, and you pull the rip cord, and the wheels would start spinning, and then you drop him, and he'd take off.
Yeah, I had the rip cord one, and of course the hand cranker for the regular motorcycles. I also had the van.
Really?
I had the stunt van. Let me tell you, the ramp on that didn't work so well.
It didn't work so well.
And I complained to my mother. She said, "Well, you have to use your imagination." So I took the crank handle thing and I just kind of like flung it across the backyard and just went me.
You need to be more like like damn SpongeBob here. You could use your imagination. Do the little rainbow.
Vincent Price.
I saw those.
The shrunken heads.
Yep.
Which those are just apples. The heads are actually apples that you carve, and they give you those things in the kit to put on them, and then you hang them up to dry. And when they dry out, they look like, you know,
they look like rotten apples.
Yeah, they look like rotten. Hey, and one of the biggest parts of my childhood, right there, $6 Million Man.
$6 Million Man. Oh, dude, that show was so good.
And of course, I had him with the engine. I had everything on this page, but the radio.
But the radio.
Yeah, and I had a whole bunch of other stuff too. But out in the kitchen somewhere, my mother mailed in for the $6 Million Man fan club. I still have the certificate. They gave you like a couple of stickers and something else. And then they gave you the certificate that you're, you know, an official member of the fan club. I still had that original certificate.
Dang it.
In like, you know, pretty much like perfect condition. So, I mean, the ads in this were great. They got like an entire letters page in the middle of the book. Brave and the Bold mailbag. They won't even do letters pages anymore because they don't want to have to print, you know, the toxic fandom letters. Here's something. There's an in-house ad. Black Hawk is back. Jerry Conway, Steve Skeets, and George Evans present the return of the world's greatest fighting team, Black Hawk. And more importantly, at the top of the page is the house ad for the first appearance of Power Girl.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh, really?
And I actually had that. I didn't know I had that. I was still trying to buy one. I go, "Are you crazy? I'm not spending that much money on that one." I actually have it. It's it's not like a mint copy, but I have a copy. That's all I care about. So
That's actually pretty high on my want list. I've got like a third appearance, but I don't have a first.
and here's another one. These were the Evil Knievel ripoffs. The TTP Wild Riders. These were the ones with the pull cords and the ramps from Kenner.
Huh. See, I don't remember those guys.
And they're showing the kids setting up the ramp, and they stole their dad's Black and Decker tape measure. So they're trying to measure. They're sitting there and they're measuring how far the bikes are actually going.
Oh, don't forget, wasn't there a fruit pies ad in there too?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. In-house ad for like some holiday stuff, couple of holiday issues like Rudolph and Christmas with the Superheroes.
Oh, those are mail-off comics too.
Yep. And then the other
The
page
Treasury.
are all the Treasury editions. Now
Yep.
that Batman down towards the bottom, with all the villains up in the spotlights.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones that I've always been denied. I saw one at like a VFW, one and done convention. But the guy, he was the only one with a copy of that book there. So he slapped $50 on it, and I'm like, how about 20? Because I saw a couple dealers with like $20 on like that Doctor Strange one that I showed you.
Yeah.
And then I found Rubber Chicken was like, they had like 2 boxes of Treasury comics, $10 a piece. And there's this ad right here for Matchbox cars.
Oh, Super 6, yeah.
I had all of those on that page. A couple of them not in the same color, but I had all of those.
Dude, speaking of Matchbox cars, you know how far they've fallen from when we used to collect them and put them in the little cases and everything else? You can go to the Dollar Tree now and buy Matchbox cars.
Yeah, they're garbage now.
Yeah, well.
The store my friend used to do the ads for, like a local store, local owned store to us. It was like a small department store.
Yeah.
And the only reason it went out of business was because the owner's grandkids had no interest in the stores whatsoever. So they just dumped them all and closed the doors. The grandkids didn't want anything to do with them because the family was loaded from these stores. So the grandkids didn't want to have to work. They could just sit back and collect, the millions off of, off of Papa and Meme there, and just be like, okay, well, when they die, you're going to get all their money, and when you die, we're going to get all your money. So it's all our money.
Yeah.
Fucking millennials. This too. Big Jim.
Huh. I don't remember that one either.
You don't know Big Jim?
I don't remember that one at all.
Mattel?
Nope. No.
Oh my God. These figures in like good condition are worth a ton of scratch.
Really?
And if you've got them in the original, if you have them complete in the original package, you could be, not Big Jim because he was the most common one because he was the big hero.
Yeah.
But especially like Warpath at the end. Warpath was one of the most popular ones, and it was like not, a lot made. I had Dr. Steel, the guy with the steel hand.
Huh.
Sadly, his steel hand broke off on me, so I had to just pretend the steel hand was there.
Oh, these look vaguely familiar. Okay. Yeah, here's a Warpath for $100.
See? Loose, right?
Yeah, loose. Yeah, here's a Big Jim Carl May, new old stock, $350.
I tell you so. An in-house ad for don't delay, order today. We can put DC Comics right in your mailbox.
Folded in half.
Oh man, my friend that owned the house that I was living in when I went into the coma, had bought subscriptions for the comics, and the mail girl, who was atrocious and should have been put out to pasture, she would take all his comics and fold them in half, and not always the same way, and she would just jam them in. And if the mailbox was full, she would just jam more stuff in, and would get so pissed off if I had if I had boxes that came in from Loot Crate or one of these other things, and it was too big to go. It was too big on purpose to go into the mailbox, and she'd actually have to either walk up the driveway and throw them at our doorstep, or like, more likely, because how dare she walk anywhere, she would back up the mail Jeep, screech onto the property over the grass, and up to the door, and put them there, like, outside the door. But I gotta take my glasses off so I can see how much they were charging back then. As soon as they are published, totaling $3 of their cover prices. I can't see.
Well, they were 25-cent books, so it would have been.
I enclose X amount of dollars, check a money order, as the rate of $3 per title for a year.
Yeah. And that included shipping and handling.
Mm-hmm. I think there's one more ad in here. Damn it, turn. No, there's no nope, that's it. There's no hostess. You lied to me.
I thought I saw a hostess. Well, I've read a bunch of old comics lately. It may have been in another one then.
I think he was in the cupboard taking a hostess pie out and going to read your comics.
Is that what it is? Yeah, you read that old hostess ad where the Hulk kills those guys for a hostess fruit pie.
Yeah.
He rolls their ass up. Hostess fruit pie makes Hulk feel better.
All the Batman and Robin ones were were crazy when they were trying to stop the like the Mummy. All of a sudden Batman had a laser gun that wasn't doing any damage, a laser rifle that wasn't doing any damage to the Mummy whatsoever. It was just bouncing off its bandages.
Yep.
So then Robin threw some pies at him, and it calmed him down, and he agreed to go back to the museum and just stand there as long as he got hostess pies every night.
Dang it.
So there's some trivia that goes along with this comic.
Okay, I didn't get the trivia.
And this is even funnier. In 1977, in the first issue of Fanzine Omniverse,
okay,
Mock Grunwald reviews Brave and the Bold 124 and found the logic of the story, quote unquote, confounding.
No shit, Mark.
He goes on to state in his review that the story couldn't take place on Earth 1 since the writers of Earth 1 do not have the ability to shape the reality of the world they're in, and couldn't take place on Earth Prime since one of its distinguishing characteristics is the lack of superheroes. Grunwald concluded that the story had to be banished to Earth B.
Earth B?
Earth B.
I don't remember Earth B.
And that's probably why he named it Earth B. I don't know.
Okay.
It's just that's funny. You know, it's not bad enough that Mark Grunwald reviewed it for the fanzine Omniverse that I've never heard of
I haven't
back
either.
in 1977. See, we used to have fanzines because there was no such thing as the internet. So there were magazines and publications that we all used to get and read to keep up on this stuff. Long
Before the internet or any of this bull.
long before the internet or Wizard magazine or any of that stuff there.
Well, see,
Back
that's the whole
back
thing.
when we both had hair and we were slim.
I have read a lot of the fanzines, and some of them are just absolutely great. But you never know what you're going to get. I mean, you got Omniverse there. You got Wits End was a fanzine. Wizened was a fanzine. That was Wally Woods. Um,
I've got one here that my friend John gave me. I'm gonna ask him if he wants it back. If not, I'll send it to you. It's a big fat one, like on Star Wars, and it's got one of the best Star Wars like Luke Skywalker Star Wars stories you'll ever read.
oh, cool.
So it's guaranteed that will never be in, in anything from Lucasfilm.
Yeah, well, that's because of that, and it's a fanzine. It's not licensed, so they're all pissed off about it, especially if it's any good. For God's sakes, I know it sounds terrible, but how many people have watched? Was it the Continuing Voyages? Actually, really good Star Trek. Only, it's not licensed, so they got cease and desist.
Yep, and one of those guys is the one that turned his huge studio that he built the entire Desilu set on.
Yep. That's
into
the Trek
into
Museum.
The original Star Trek set tour.
Yep. Which I'd love to go see.
It's up in Ticonderoga, New York, in the middle of nowhere.
It's funny.
It's just, it's just so far out of the way, and it's so far that you have to stay someplace before you can drive back home.
There's no hotels there?
No, it's a one-horse town that's been dilapidated over the years because the local government has chased any small businesses that existed there, because if somebody that lives in that town needs to go grocery shopping,
yeah,
it's a whole day affair, because you have to drive, like, what you looking at?
Oh, I don't want to cut this thing off while you're doing that. I didn't realize that town was that small. I thought it would have been a lot larger.
Well, it's a good size. It's a small town, but it's a good sized town. Except that all the businesses have dried up and gone away. So local government has basically destroyed the town.
Huh. Dang, I didn't know that.
But because there's an attraction there, if there's like a roadside motel, the rooms are like the rooms are super expensive, and if it's a weekend that they're open and they've got like Shatner there, they like quadruple the prices.
God. Yeah, I bet nobody would show up if it's that small of a town, and Shatner shows up.
So all the rooms are like they double and triple the room rates when they're there. My friend and his girlfriend used to help when they were still filming. They used to go up and help like a couple of times a year as part of the crew. And now they volunteer and they go up a couple times of the year, and they become red shirt security. Basically, they have to put them in parts of the tour that basically, not a lot of people go to, but they have to put one person in each room to make sure somebody, to make sure like a guest from the tour doesn't try to sneak around and steal objects and pilfer them away.
Huh.
But yeah, when they go up, they stay like at a hotel like the next town over, but it's a long drive to get out of there because you have to go over the mountains to get out of there. So it's one of those Americana towns. It's like, in the middle of the valley, surrounded by mountains. So it's like, one way in, one way out. So if you show up there, if you go up there like in November and you go in on the tour and you come out and there's like a foot of snow on the ground, you're not leaving that town.
Damn. No, that's not fun there. Dang. Trying to figure out, I was thinking of a couple things, but you know how that goes. Sometimes it hurts when you think too much, it hurts your brain.
And my brain hurts quite a bit.
Your brain hurts a bit. Dang it. But yeah, it's just something I want to go. I mean, I actually was, when I first started watching this series, I was like, oh, these suck. These are terrible. But then if you watch them for a while and actually like pay attention, they're pretty damn good. But I guess a lot of people just don't, I don't know if they don't want to, like them because it's not the actual series or not. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, especially if it's just something good that you really like.
Well, there's those people, if it's not official, they hate it.
No matter what.
Yeah. So,
and that just doesn't make any sense.
My buddy Sarge there shared on his story Locked and Loaded Comics, which is a comic store that he knows, probably out in California where he is.
Okay.
Shared this post and he reshared it. And it's Locked and Loaded Comics. Oh snap. $1,200 starting bid. Reply auction ends tomorrow on Hulk 180, graded at 5.0.
$1,200?
$1,200 starting bid for not even 181. It's 180.
I've been seeing the price of 180 go through the roof.
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
Because the speculators got certain people in certain places and apps to retcon, instead of 180 being Wolverine's first cameo, they now have it as Wolverine's first appearance and are listing 181 as his second appearance. Because, he was in the book, so that's his first appearance. It's a cameo.
Yeah, he's only on one page.
He's on the last page in the last panel. That's it.
Granted, it is a splash panel, but yes.
Yeah, he's on the very last page.
Yeah. So does that mean the price of 181 is going to come down now?
Oh, hell no.
Damn it.
That will never happen.
All right. Well, I got one for you because I actually discovered this the other day, and we can read it for next week.
We were going to do a DC Presents, but now you want to do the 25th anniversary cover of Daredevil. The 25th. These are so hot. There's so many people chasing these down.
I've gotten most of them. I do not have the freaking Heathcliff. I do not have the damn Care Bears, but I have got most of them. What? You didn't know there was a Care Bears issue?
No, my little brony.
So this one right
I
here.
don't have the Heathcliff and the Care Bears issue. Oh
Yep.
my!
This is the reason I saw this. So like, man, we got to do this one. I cannot remember. It is by Ann Nassetti, and can you tell me who the artist is?
Wait, are we talking about like the Care Bears actually or like?
Can you tell me who the artist is by just looking at it?
I know the art so well.
Do you want to say his name?
I can't because I know the artist, but
I've highlighted him like twice on the show because he's just that good.
is it Barry?
It's Barry. This is one of those other ones I found from the 80s that he did that he's like slipped in. He's like, oh, we need somebody to fill in an issue. Barry Smith's not doing anything. Let's have Barry Smith do it. So this is a Barry Smith Daredevil issue. Yep. Ann Nassetti, Barry Windsor Smith, and Wallach are the anchors. Rosen's the editor. So
Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief, Ralph Macchio, editor.
Yep. But I did not know that he did this one.
You know, I never thought in a million years that I would ever say that I missed Jim Shooter at Marvel, but I missed Jim Shooter at Marvel.
Dang it, that's terrible.
And I'm sad now too because I never found I don't know how many boxes that somebody else might have removed from the house while I was in the hospital before they got all my stuff out of there. Because I had
there you go.
I had pretty much all of the Neil Adams imprint.
Yeah.
Comic books, whatever they were called.
Yeah.
And I had all of Jim Shooter's Defiant universe.
The Defiant stuff was really good, actually.
Yeah.
Hold on. So there was the Care Bears, and Heathcliff number 12 is the 25th anniversary Heathcliff. $20, dude. Very good. Very good. Hard to find.
Yeah, Star Comics are wicked hard to find. Like, if you come across a Star Comics like He-Man,
yeah,
it's like grab. No, you don't go cuckoo. Grab your. My phone's not out here, so I can't look it up. What's the speculator app there?
Oh, Key Comics.
Yeah, grab your Key Comics app and quickly look that up because it's probably like a big chunk of money because so many people are after it.
So there's West Coast Avengers, Daredevil, Heathcliff, G.I. Joe.
You got the G.I. Joe?
I may have the G.I. Joe.
I'm surprised that's only $750 with an older G.I. Joe cover with Snake Eyes on the cover. Any Snake Eyes cover always sold quick. Cloak and Dagger I had.
Oh my God. Dude, I have the Cloak and Dagger. I may have two of them. Do you realize that I've been picking up Cloak and Dagger? Why? Because they're at the antique store. I've been getting them for $1 a piece. as they put more of them in there. And a lot of these early Cloak and Daggers are Magnolia art. All of them are.
Mhm.
It's incredible. I'm like, really? Magnolia.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I got both of these.
Is that Web or Amazing?
Amazing and Peter Parker.
Okay, yeah, I had the Amazing. I don't know what happened to it because I still haven't. I've opened up all the boxes that I have, and
Yeah.
I do not have my long box of Amazing Spider-Man has disappeared miraculously.
Well,
And yes, there was an ASM 300 in that box.
damn it.
And the Iron Man I had too because that was my favorite. That was my favorite suit of armor right there.
This is who did this armor? Was it Pollard? No, it's Layton, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bob Layton.
Bob Layton. Okay, Layton. I want one of those.
What's that one at? 50?
35.
Not bad. Don't you have one of those?
Which one? That?
Yeah.
No, I've got a Fumetti. I got a Fumetti number 1. I don't.
I thought you had the Marvel Age.
No, I got a Fumetti number 1. Marvel Age 44. I guess is the 25th anniversary cover there too. Iron Man. Oh, Avengers 273.
Yep, I had that
God,
one.
I forgot this one. Holy dog shit! Really?
Ewok. A Star Wars property on Star Comics.
Yep, $150.
What issue of Ewoks is that?
Star Wars Ewoks number 10.
Number 10. Wow.
Yeah, there's Transformers, $18. I've got the classic X-Men, $17.50. I got Thor, Fantastic Four. There's your Web, the 25th anniversary Web.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've got the Hulk.
I think that's it.
Wasn't that an Alpha Flight up there though?
Yeah, but it's just
Oh, it's just regular.
Yeah, it's just a regular Alpha Flight. Oh, X Factor. Dude, that's a great comic book right there.
Oh yeah.
My God, I've got 2 or 3 copies of that. I love this comic. It's great. I think that's it. That's all of them. The horrible Howard the Duck movie thing. Marvel Fanfare 25th anniversary, number 27.
I used to buy those, and I would buy them for the cover.
The Marvel Fanfare?
Yeah.
Have you ever really read any of them?
Yeah.
Some of the stories in the Marvel Fanfare are incredible.
The one that I still had, which I probably don't have anymore because stuff just went and suicided itself, Clinton style, was the one with Sauron on the cover.
Yeah, that's the first 3 of them, I think. That's the first 3. You know who does the art in those? You ready? Here it goes. I think it's Chris Claremont wrote those. And the art in those is by freaking Michael Golden. Like, holy crap. And they're so
that
good.
double-sized Batman issue of Michael Golden's is like ridiculously high.
Yeah, because people don't understand how good Golden is. There's a couple of them in there that are so good though. There's some Starlin ones that are in there. Mm-hmm. There's the ever classic that they reprinted off of Marvel Fanfare. They reprinted it in the Black Widow Treasury, the Essential Black Widow. It's like 10 through 13 or something. It's a 3-issue story. Written and drawn by, I think it's written and drawn by George Perez, and it's Black Widow. It's in the freaking Marvel Fanfare. I bought them years and years ago. I haven't read them all, but somebody was selling them on eBay or something, and they're like, "Hey, Marvel Fanfare 1 through 50 for, $60 plus shipping and handling or something." It was something stupid, all very fine or better. I'm like, okay, I can spend $60 on this. I got almost the whole set. I'm missing like 2 issues or something. I'm like, hold it. These are stories that didn't make it into the regular series because they didn't fit continuity or something. I'm sure we can read them. there's a couple cool Hulk versus Thing stories in there, and then the ever classic oh god, the one with Ben Grimm smoking a cigarette or smoking a cigar, and it's just his face. I think it's by Starlin, and it says "Yours truly, Ben Grimm."
Mm-hmm.
That's a good story. Where it's an April Fool's story, where Ben comes back from the he's out doing something and feeling depressed or crap again, and shows up at the Baxter Building, and Johnny Storm is like set up all these traps for him and like hits him in the face with a banana cream pie or something. And he gets
Oh
mad.
yeah, I remember that one.
They get in a big ass fight and they're running all over the place. But yeah. But no, I saw that the other day. I'm like, crap, another Barry Windsor story we have to read.
Did you see the post from Scott Hanna the other day on Facebook?
No, I didn't.
Somebody paid him, and it's got to be thousands of dollars because it's Scott Hanna. It was, I think, Silver Surfer Black, which unfortunately is another Donny Cates book. I hate the Cates. I don't think that means what you think it means. No, I'm pretty sure it does. I think you're a douche, and I fucking hate you.
Oh, come on now. I do like his Thor run so far.
Really? Where Thor killed Galactus with a swing of his hammer?
We're gonna get past that part. We got some things we have to move past.
No, we don't really. Donny Cates writes it so Thor kills Galactus.
I know.
And then Hasbro decides that they're going to charge you $400 for a Galactus toy.
I know. I didn't buy it because it wouldn't fit in my house. I didn't have a spare place to set it.
You didn't buy it because you weren't sure how many shoes your wife was going to shove up your ass for buying the $400 action figure.
There may be that too.
You're like, she might have some heels left around here someplace. I don't want her breaking one off of my ass.
For buying a $400 Galactus.
Oh.
But
yeah, you had the money. Would you have bought it? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have taken it out. But it's like it would have been like the most expensive dust magnet that I own at that point.
Yeah, but it's 3 foot tall. It'd be as big as his bookshelf over here.
It would fit on one of my window ledges, but I would never open it.
And
so it's like,
where's the fun in that?
It's like, aren't you going to open it?
No.
Why not?
Do you remember?
Ain't worth nothing if you open it.
Do you remember the day of Dexter's Lab episode where they go to the Star Trek convention and they're walking around and they're at the Star Trek convention and what's his face? One of the Dexter's friends is playing Spock and they rip open a damn like a little Barbie doll trying to free her and they all get in a big fight. All the people are mint in box. Damn it. I did read talking about the crazy. He did like 6 or 7 of those issues in the 80s. Smith did.
Mm-hmm.
I did read the Iron Man one recently. That's a damn good story. That's an incredible Iron Man story.
Oh yeah, I found mine and then I lost it again. That's the one with him hanging by the strings on the cover.
Yes, the cover was worth it alone.
That's why I bought it.
I was like, is it? And then you open it up and it's like, holy Jesus, he does the inside art. It's like X-Men 205.
I remember when I bought that off the shelf at the store, and I'm like, oh, Barry Windsor Smith cover. Cool, I'll buy this. He goes, well, don't open it. You'll be disappointed. He goes, why? He goes, because he doesn't just do the cover. What?
Yeah. What's the disappointment here?
He was just busting my chops. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Mr. Hates Everything.
Yeah. Good God.
I'm like one of those gangster rappers back in the 90s. Got all the women, got all the money, got all the cars. Still mad as fuck.
Damn it. Oh, man. Might have to get out of here. I got to go to bed. I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I gotta head out too because I'm tired.
All right, man.
All right, so we will be back next Thursday with the Barry Windsor Smith 25th anniversary edition of Daredevil. Until next time, and don't forget, tomorrow night I'm gonna be interviewing Mr. Joe Ball, who will be here talking about his 300 plus page book, Death, Death, Death.
It's kind of repetitive there.
Well, you know, once you find the perfect title, you just stick with it again and again and again.
But again,
It's an amazing looking book.
is
But I will try to remember to just DM me and I'll tag you in the post for that tomorrow night, and I'll tag you in the one for Chris's book that I had on Monday or Tuesday rather. That book is that series, that first 10 issue run is going to be expensive, but it's for him. It's 30 years in the making because he was a game developer. So this is a game, and like this, he made the modulars that he wrote were story based, so it wasn't, you know, D&D. It's specific. It's like you don't have like 5 or 10 choices of what you could possibly do. You have to go, blinders on through this direct path, from point A to point B, and that's it. So he wrote this whole thing out, and he financed this entire book, the first one himself. He's a writer, so he had to pay, a few different art, a whole art team to and editors and letterers and all this other stuff to do the book. He goes, damn it costs more than my car. He goes, yes, I drive around in a hunk of junk, but still, it costs more than my car. So the fundraise, the crowdfunder, his goal is $12K, but that is to basically get the money back that he invested in this and to flip it back over to make book 2. But if he makes it up to, I think, if he hits 20K, that'll give enough money to do this book, and people will get that book, and it'll get it so he can make book 2, and book 2 will go up on the website where people can just buy the book itself at a discounted rate, and they'll be able to buy the card set that goes along with that. Because you can buy it's they're 50 pages each too, full color.
Oh.
So it's a pretty big book. That's like 4 like Marvel or DC books.
Yep. With
their 18 pages of story bullshit. So it's going to be a perfect bound edition, 50 pages. So for $23, not including shipping, you get the main cover and the full card set for this book. And one of the cards is a secret card that they won't show you. You won't be able to see it until you get it.
Yeah.
But that goes to the game. And that's a special game card. And the only way to get it in the game is if you buy the book with the cards. And in the game, that will let you be able to read and speak dragon.
Cool.
And I'm like, the books look amazing and everything. So I'll when I share that out tomorrow, I'll tag you in it.
I'll check it out, man.
So until next time, we're out of here.